this situation right here could get so much worse. And exactly the situation I'm talking about is the one that caused the Bitcoin price to go from 110 all the way down to $103,000. Even though the price is kind of recovering right now and it's kind of in the middle of the range. And overall, if you look at it, it's kind of part of this consolidation pattern. You could say that it is just gonna squeeze and break to the upside. But there are news which are stemming obviously from the United States, from China, from Iran, from Israel. And I'm going to cover everything before I come and show you guys my trades, because I've taken some trades in the process. They didn't go that well, but also not too badly either. So anyway, everything in due time. If we look at Ethereum technically, we kind of retested this bottom edge support of this local consolidation and are also currently kind of in the middle. So it looks for now okay, but there are a few factors that are possibly going to happen in the next 72 hours, which are going to be the most important for the decision whether we're going to continue upwards or we're actually going to crash much lower and lose this support. Because the support, I mean, we are kind of, well, right now not at the support in the middle, but we are kind of being supported by very important levels in every single coin that you look at. Same thing when it comes to Solana. We're kind of also being at the level that if we get rejected from it, we could be sent down to the target area of like $113. So what could cause this? And it would actually be relatively easy to track. So let me show you exactly what this could be. Let's quickly go through the news so you guys can have a very good, clear understanding of what is happening right now. And then I'll show you my trades, explain exactly the logic behind them. So first of all, what do we have this week? What I wanted to remind you guys is that on Wednesday, we're going to have the FOMC meeting and the interest rate decision from Federal Reserve. And right now, the expectations are 99.6% that there's going to be no rate cut. And we really want to see what Jerome Powell is going to say, because the chances of a rate cut here are pretty much zero. If a rate cut happens, I mean, certainly the markets will pump, because there's going to be a clear signal from Fed that they're finally pivoting hard and are actually playing along with Donald Trump and his administration. So that's all that matters. I'm going to keep you posted, so subscribe, hit the notification bell, and certainly I'll make a video probably on Thursday or Friday to keep you guys updated as to what has happened on Wednesday. Now, what has caused this down move in the price in general? Israel has attacked Iran, even though there were negotiations about this nuclear program and stuff, but nonetheless, Israel just decided. Netanyahu has come out and said, you know, Iran has been working on nuclear weapons. We're going to simply take action, and they started bombing the nuclear facilities in Iran, killing some of top officials and stuff. So, unfortunately, this has sparked a huge exchange of missile fire between Iran and Israel, and it's still ongoing, and it still is pretty heavy in terms of casualties, and Tel Aviv is being struck, Tehran is being struck. And so do we have another war in the Middle East? This is the big question, which I'm going to address today, and I'm going to give you some pointers to it. And this is the reason why we actually dipped so heavily and so quickly. The same thing in Ethereum. This is exactly what has caused it, and it could get much worse. But I'm going to get to it in just a second. And there is also another piece of news which has got nothing to do with any of this, and kind of a lot of people are kind of not noticing it, which is happening inside the United States, but I'm going to get to it in just a second. And no, it's not LA. So going forward, Trump declares that the US will attack Iran if America is attacked in any way, because Iran came out and they said that they're about to bomb even the U.S. Military bases in UAE, which there is one in Abu Dhabi, there is in Qatar, Bahrain, etc. So the entire Middle East is actually full of U.S. bases. And Trump responded saying that he will declare war on Iran if any of the U.S. bases will be actually struck. So it's spiraling out of control. And then we've seen this, that Mossad is planning a false flag attack on U.S. bases near Iran to force Trump to join Israel's war. And right now, this is crazy shit. If you think about it, that we are probably the closest to the possibility of a nuclear war we've ever been in the last couple of years. Because just jumping a little bit ahead here with my analysis, this Iran-Israeli situation is old as day. Same thing as Israel and Palestine, or Russia and Ukraine. Jesus Christ. All this stuff is old as day. However, there are certain events that can spiral out of control and actually make a lot of the fears come to fruition and become a reality, such as a global war, nuclear war, etc. And right now, it kind of is spiraling out of control because Israel doesn't care about negotiations. Iran is not going to negotiate. They don't want to be left alone in the Middle East. They want to be able to protect themselves. So it's a never-ending bullshit, and Israel kind of, I guess, understands this, so they want to strike first, which means it could possibly, finally, out of all of this, actually spiral out of control into the war. But I'm going to give you my final overview at the end of the video. Then, we also see that China says that it supports Iran in defending its legitimate rights and interests. And certainly we know that Russia also supports Iran. So it's not just about Israel and Iran. It is about United States, the big coalition, and then Iran, China, Russia, etc., and the big coalition. So it's all the same players, again, just fighting the war in a small sandbox called Middle East, which can spiral into a very big problem. And this is the reason why markets have tanked quite a bit. And for this reason, if you actually look at oil has done fantastically well. Look at this huge spike in the price. But this is the reason why, because these conflicts in the Middle East, they disrupt oil and oil production. And when the oil production is disrupted, this also is a big problem for the United States, which I will mention down the road and in this video, that when oil production is disrupted, the gas prices in the United States, they can skyrocket. And when they skyrocket, inflation does. And people have even less money. And right now, the personal savings rate in the United States is pretty ridiculous. It's just low as dirt. It's below COVID time. So it is a big problem. And for this reason, the United States cannot afford this war. But it could happen. And the good thing here is that the United States understands all these facts, that they cannot afford another war and they don't want to be dragged into one. And Israel really does all they can to drag them into the war, because without the United States, without the super powerful missiles of the US, which Israel does not have, it's going to be very difficult to really achieve any goals in Iran. And Israel understands this. However, Trump being Trump and Trump trying to be rational, US rejected Benjamin's request to join the war directly, because they actually came out and said, officially, we are officially requesting you to join the war. Thankfully, the United States said no. And I think if Democrats were at the wheel, they might have said yes. So thankfully, they said no, and the markets kind of started recovering a tiny bit. That's why we're actually currently, I think that's one of the main reasons why the market is recovering at all. But this could change at an instant. I will show you just in a GIF, and I'll tell you the total expectation. But first, let's cover this topic right here, which is a hidden one, and people are kind of ignoring it for the time being. Look, 13 million views. Epstein's secret photos of Donald Trump with young girls may have been found, potentially forcing Congress to impeach and remove him. Again, is it true? So these photos, supposedly, which happened in more than 10 years ago, and they didn't surface in 2016, so the previous election where Donald Trump became president, and now suddenly they're again. Is this just FUD? I have no idea. But quite frankly, if these kind of photos would really surface, and they would really be approved as legitimate, this would be a shit show, and Trump could really be impeached, and then we would be in for a very rude awakening for crypto, like a general market, because it would create the turmoil of horseshit. That would be just horrific. It would be beyond uncertain. Now, when it comes to this war stuff, before I move to the trades and show you guys my trades and what I did in the last couple of days, because I have taken some degen trades, my opinion. Again, this is just in the background, so you need to pay attention to this. You need to listen to what Jerome Powell is going to say on Wednesday. But when it comes to this war, for now, it seems like that the conflict is just between Iran and Israel. So, and they're just striking one another every single day. So it's not subsiding by any means. It just keeps going. But despite this, the price is going up, because the only thing that we are worried about here, and the market is worried about, is if the United States is going to get involved. So Trump came out and promised there isn't going to be any wars during his term. He still kind of failed to solve the issue between Russia and Ukraine, and Israel and Palestine, and now Israel, Iran. It's crazy. The only thing he kind of solved was Pakistan and India for the time being. So as long as, here's my conviction, that this has been, as I've said before, old as day. It's nothing new. But if this does spiral out of control, for example, I don't know, as it was said here that Mossad is planning to attack one of the US bases and kind of mask it under Iran and kind of make it look like Iran, and US would be actually involved in the conflict and would start bombing Iran, this would be bad. In that kind of a turn of events, I'd be probably expecting Bitcoin below 90K. Short term, but it would only create an opportunity in my opinion. Outside of this, and outside of this real activation of a nuclear threat, because right now it kind of is activated, but it has been activated before. Israel attacked Iran before, Iran responded to Israel before. So what happened so far, it's intense, but it is nothing new. And that's why we are recovering right now. But from what I hear from people I talk to, certainly I don't talk to Netanyahu or Trump or Putin for that matter yet, unfortunately. I would really love to know what's really happening. But there is, right now with what we're saying, there are a few pointers that are kind of suggesting that there is a chance this could really spiral out of control. And if it does, and if there is a real strike and a real escalation and really something new, this would be a completely different story short term. However, in my opinion, it would still pose as a long-term opportunity, because every single war in the world led to money printing and subsequent rise in the markets. Unless we have a global nuclear war, then that would be pretty fucking sad. But then it was nice knowing you guys. So because of this, understanding this, I've actually taken, which actually didn't work, the previous trade that I had, the long on ETH, I closed it with a loss of 4,000, so I lost like 30% of my profit on a previous trade. And then right here, I tried to re-enter into the turning of the market, and it kind of was a good entry, but then certainly I guess I wasn't the only one. So and then the market makers just hunted our stop losses, but my stop loss was very close. Probably it was just too close. Perhaps I should have put it behind the local lows, but I didn't. So I got out, like I got in here, I got out right here. So I lost like $700, which is basically almost, you could say, kind of break even. But then it actually did what I was expecting it. So therefore, I don't have any trades as of this time. I lost like 35% of my profit from the last profitable trade. Well, so be it. It's all peanuts anyway, but just exercising, so to speak. So in general, I really want the price to continue consolidating in this region. If there's going to be any escalation of the gravity that I spoke about, we're definitely going to break this support and probably see a retest of 2100. For this reason, certainly I will be entering into more trades. That's why I still have some orders pending here on Ethereum, which is at 2386. And certainly we'll enter lower as well, just to build a trade using this mass hysteria event. And guys, down in the description of this video, you can actually find two links. One link to Bybit, where you can actually claim up to $30,000 initial deposit bonuses for your own advantage, and up to 42% discount on trading fees. But also Bybit is currently doing a huge trading competition in which you can participate. There is also a link to it in the description of this video with $1.5 million in rewards. And this is pretty insane. So this is pretty huge. Go join them. Registration ends in 11 days. And go show what you can do and actually earn some real money, real prizes, which is pretty insane. So, and check out this quick video popping up on your screen where I detail exactly the reasons behind the statistic of 97% of traders in crypto losing money, and also the solutions. Even if you think you know how to trade, you will learn a lot from this video. Stay smart. See you next video.